Today on the Kite Bag Tour, it's the 3-year anniversary. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Skyrider Limited. I am Jesse, and today on the Kite Bag Tour, it is the 3-year anniversary special, which is wild. 1,300 of you out here now subscribed. Thank you. Thank you. So this year, the last couple of years, I've asked people to talk about kites in their bag. This year, I wanted to bring some kite makers in. So this year's anniversary video is all about kite makers and kites that they learned from, or their favorite thing that they've made, or projects that maybe they didn't work out, but they taught them something. All sorts of things. I put the call out. I got a bunch of responses. I'm super excited to share them with you. I even may have corralled my dad and forced him to finally be part of the channel. So sit tight. We're going to dive right into these. So first up, we're starting with Cassie Shook. Cassie's one of my really good friends in kiting. And she and her family own Flying Smiles kites down in Corolla, North Carolina. Her kite is actually hanging on the wall there too. So if you're down in Corolla, you can go visit and see the kite she's talking about, and Cassie and her folks. And we're gonna go dive right into that.
Hey, you guys. I heard that we're celebrating the 3rd anniversary of this YouTube channel today, Skyrider with Jesse, right? Well, we're going to take it next level. Guys, welcome to the 2nd floor of Flying Smiles Kites. I'm Cassie Shook. This is my family kite shop. And here on the 2nd floor, I like to think of it as the kite art gallery. Down there, you've got a Willie Cock kite that actually he's what inspired Dad's kites. Then you've got Hadas by Mom, mesh quads by Dad, including the not often seen Bargello. And then we've got kites made by me now, which is so cool. I'm so honored to be included in the Flying Smiles Kite Art Gallery. So Jesse asked us for a story about a kite we've built. And the best kite for me to tell you a story about is my Under the Sea quad that I made. I brought it to nationals this year to compete, and I'm so excited. I won People's Choice. I'm so proud. That's so cool. I'm honored. Like, there were kites in that room I had no business beating. So thank you, AKA. Now I'm going to tell you the story of the kite. So about maybe 10-ish months ago, 8-ish months ago, I learned how to tie-dye ripstop nylon. And in fact, down here on the 1st floor, I've got some. So I learned how to tie-dye ripstop nylon, and suddenly my brain opened up in 100 million ideas. So sometime in the summertime, my dear friend Craig Young saw some of the green fabric and said, "Oh, that would make a really good turtle shell." And then about a month later, I unfolded the fabric and I saw that section of green and said, "That's it. That has to be a turtle shell." Over the next few weeks, I would wake up in the middle of the night with just an image in my head, a quad line kite. I didn't think I was going to make a quad line kite. I thought it was going to be a single line kite, but no. Quad line kite came to my mind with the turtle on one side and then your coral on the other with some seaweed scattered. Okay? So this image was in my head, in my head, in my head, and I couldn't get it out. So I decided, okay, I have to build this kite, right? So I went to Canva. Actually, you guys, it's a free resource. If anybody is like me and can't draw, go to Canva and play with their tools. Because I was able to find some images that I'm allowed to use to kind of give me the shapes for the images. And then I built it out, right? But here's the thing, you guys. Bubbles, I'm cursed by bubbles. I made a set of Delaportas, a train of Delaportas that are bubbles. And y'all, those kites are never going to see the light of day again. I flew the kites, got my proof of concept, but the reality is when I finished the kites, the bubbles weren't right. Y'all, there were supposed to be bubbles on this kite. Bubbles will curse me. One day I will make a bubble kite. It will be a good kite. This wasn't going to be it. So then I wanted some motion, so I added fish. And I absolutely love it because I actually made 5 different colorways of fish. So somewhere I've got a plastic Ziploc bag of cut out fish that I'll use on another kite. But in the meantime, I kind of matched them to the kite and I made little schools of fish. And I'll just want to point out right over there is my favorite, a little guy hiding behind a little piece of seaweed. Anyway, I am so proud of this kite. And it really came like in a dream. Like I couldn't not make the kite. I want to thank Craig for giving me the idea of, oh, that looks like turtle. As soon as he said that looks like turtle, the idea was planted. And also Steve Anderson for teaching me how to make tie-dye ripstop. He learned from Gil Bloom and a number of other people. And then I learned from him. So basically, a bunch of kite masters have shared their information. And I'm so grateful that it has worked its way down the chain to me. So, anyway, that's my story. Happy 3-year anniversary, Jesse. I'm really proud of you with the Skyrider channel. And in the meantime, I'm gonna go back down to the first floor and maybe do some kite building. See you guys later.
So next up is my good friend Keith. Keith is up here in New England, and had been flying sport kites for a number of years before he started flying with other folks. And somewhere along the way, he got into playing around with making some kites. And so Keith shares one of his new designs with us here, and also his new kite studio, which is super cool.
Hi, I'm Keith Namelish. My little operation out on Cape Cod in Eastham is called Outer Cape Kiting. Welcome to my new shop. So new that nothing has actually been produced here yet. I want to share with you my second kite that I call the 319. I grew up in a town with a train station, and the 319 was a train that, as my father said, never disappoints. This kite was inspired by the Prism Hypnotist, which is one of my favorite kites. The Hypnotist would surprise me often with its wind range and smooth flight. The 319 is like a swollen version of the Hypnotist, as the sail is probably 5% greater along the leading edge. During the build of my first kite, I became frustrated with the purchasing of supplies. Sometimes I could find the right spar, but not the correct size fittings. I ended up using 4 suppliers, with too much of the expense going to shipping. So with the 319, I wanted to simplify the frame. It is constructed with 8 6mm pultruded carbon tubes, Icarus sail, Dacron leading edges, and some mylar. Overall, I was pleased with the result. I find that I often choose this kite over the 18 others that are in my bag. Part of that is simply the kick I get from flying my own creation, but much of this choice is based upon the quality of the flying. This kite tracks easily, spins smoothly with great control. It floats well and is extremely forgiving. For a flyer of my limited skills, I rarely find myself in trouble. This kite is stable on its back and front, and important to me, it's a quiet flyer. Being my second design and build, you can imagine that there are numerous weaknesses. Basically, the places in need of improvement are right down the middle: the nose, the T-joint opening, and the tail. I simply looked at other kites and sketched out my approach on some fabric. The end result looks about that haphazard, but it's a start. I'm currently working on a variation of this kite with a different panel plan, but the critical measurements match this initial design. I call this variation the alias, and my first alias featured much mylar. The key change between the 319 and the alias was the use of a one-piece center panel as a way to help clarify the center of the kite for the nose and tail positioning.
So next up, we go to my kitchen, and uh, we catch up with my dad and one of the kites he built. He hasn't built kites in a number of years, but when I was little and we were first getting into kites, or I was first getting into kites, I should say, he was into kites pretty much from his honeymoon with my mom. He had started, tinkering around with making some kites, and so this was one that's pretty special to him, and I also have some really fond memories of. So we'll jump right into that. So for the anniversary video this year, um, I wanted stories about kites and kite makers, and so obviously I'm not a kite maker, so my contribution this year is corralling my dad, who made kites a lot when I was little.
Oh, yes. So?
And so I asked everybody to pick, a kite they were proud of or something they learned on, and you picked this guy.
Well, Rocky was one of my favorite characters growing up on cartoons and such, and when I decided I wanted to try a figure kite to sort of expand my applique, um, Rocky seemed to be the obvious choice.
And he's really striking. The all the outline that gives him this really cool illustrated look is so intricate and must have taken you like forever. I remember you working on him for a while.
Yeah, he took a lot of time, especially to get the face right.
And I like that some of this is like one piece and back cuts, but some of it is like separated lines that must have just been, I mean, just so finicky to sew.
Yeah, it pretty was because they're very, very thin. The stitches were pretty small, and I wanted to get it right.
Did you make? I can't remember. Did you make him for? Was he for like Smithsonian or something?
I think he was intended for Smithsonian, but I don't remember if he ever made it there. He might have.
And so kind of framing's Edo-y. He's got a sort of a bowed spreader and a spine, but you've got all sorts of little like extra battens in him, like the his legs here, and he's got little ones in his hands, and then obviously the perimeter of his head, and that's all fiberglass. How long was that experimenting? Was that
Absolutely experimenting. I had no clue. I sewed him first and then started to try and figure out how to frame him.
did you ever think about doing any of the other characters, or was he always it?
I had
I mean,
intended.
he's the flying squirrel, right? Like,
Right.
he flies.
He flies. I had intended to try Bullwinkle, but just the scale of it and trying to figure out how he would fly with that big rack of antlers that he has and everything
Well,
else
and
was.
if you were going to do them at the same scale too, because Rocky's probably what 5-ish feet here.
Yeah, no,
So
Bullwinkle
he's-
would have been a good 10, 12-foot kite.
Yeah, he would have been massive, which would have been really cool, but also probably would have been a bit unruly.
Well, again, this was all experiment. Very few people were doing, besides Peter Lynn, were doing inflatable figures at that point. It was just starting to be a thing people were trying, and most of them were all based around either the Sutton Flowform type kite
Yeah, like
or the
Mark Lester's legs.
or the Greens of Burnley Stratoscoop type
Sure.
kites.
And you didn't have the aid of computer yet, because this is he signed and dated somewhere on here, right?
Yeah, but
I found it once. Aha! Rocket J Squirrel, Bruce Capstan, March of '93.
long time ago.
So
Galaxy far, far away.
I was 5.
Mm-hmm.
Which means this probably was one of the last things you made single line or pretty close, because we were starting to compete at that point.
Yeah, I don't remember if the Universal Flyer kites came after Rocky or before.
I think one before and one after, if I remember, because I think the Rock is dated '94.
Okay.
I'd have to go dig them back out from where they're hiding from convention.
Because that was another project that was supposed to be a long series of kites where the Universal Flyer would show up on not only that Rev 2 and then the Rock, but there were going to be other
I'm
styles
still
of kites.
convinced there was a third one somewhere. I could have sworn you at least started on a third one.
I probably started on it. I don't think it ever got completed.
I really thought you had done a sale for Peter Warba to turn into a W4 or an X4W.
No, that never happened. That I know never happened.
Well, there's Rocky. And he's ripstop.
He is ripstop. There
Yeah,
wasn't.
yeah.
I mean, Icarus wasn't really even a thing.
And actually, this isn't Dacron. This is like ribbon material almost.
Yes, that's it. That's edging that I decided would be
It's
the perfect size.
just edge binding. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's really cool. Dad? Thank
Yes.
you for doing this one and sharing the story. And we'll
You're
kind of let
welcome.
it go there, and we'll jump into whoever's next. So our next kite maker is over in the UK, Josh Mitchison. Josh has been building sport kites for a number of years now, building and designing. His recent collaboration with Lamb Hawk the Object, is sort of taking the world by storm at the moment. Um, Josh is sort of a protege of Carl Robichaud's, has been on the channel a few times, and just doing some really cool stuff with um, polyvalent, ballet style kites, as well as some more freestyle stuff, and of course, um, flying fulcrums and flying team on Furies, and so you look forward to seeing what he brings to us here.
Hey guys, I'm Josh from the UK. I've jumped on here to show you a kite that I'm particularly proud of that we've been working on. No surprise, it's the Object. I designed this with Lamb Hawk. We've been working on this for the best part of a year and a half now, so it's basically taken over my life. But I'm really pleased it has. Let me tell you about it. So this one is one that I've made. It's my SUL. And I love it because the kite itself, it flies awesomely for what we wanted, but that's not really the main reason I love it. We worked really hard on it, and Lamb's a really good friend of mine. I really, really respect the guy and the time that we've put into it. It was it was a conversation over a beer and some lunch in China that we had. It was like, oh, should we just do a kite? And it was that off the cuff comment that we went, yeah, let's do it, let's do it. Thought nothing of it. Conversation didn't really happen, and then one day we're just talking like, so what we're going to do about this kite then? That didn't come from me, that came from Lamb. And it was a really, really special moment to go, oh wow, this is something real. We started writing ideas down, sketching shapes, and that kind of basic idea of right, what we're going to try and achieve out of the kite. And this is what came of it. And yeah, I really, really love it. Like I say, this has been my life for well, it was September 2024. So yeah, almost a year and a half now. Really, really love it. So like I was saying, this is one that I've personally built. Sky Shark 2PT for the SUL. But I'm just really, really proud of it because the work that went into it. I'm lazy. For making my kites, I built a laser cutter, and this was kind of the first project where I got to really put that through its paces as well. So it's really a combination of many things that came together good in the time period that we were working on this. And yeah, I just really love this kite, and particularly the colors. I don't like any color in my kite, so black and white monochrome is all you will see me fly now. Yeah. So yeah, that's where I'm at with this. Incidentally, I've got something fun to share. When we were working on it, we got all the sketches and everything done. Did the card file, put it through the laser cutter, and this is actually number one. But you'll realise it hasn't got a nose. The reason behind it was we got to the point where we're gonna put the nose on, stick a frame in it, and looked at the notes for the trailing edge and put the wrong trailing edge on it, so the curve was totally wrong. I didn't finish it, but I kept it as a keepsake because things like this is just a good story for one day. Thanks.
Man, I can't believe it's been 3 years. Thank you all so much for liking, subscribing, following, sharing these videos. It was always, from the start, it was about sharing my passion, and hoping to use that to build a community. And I think we're building a really, really awesome one. Thank you to my guests, everybody who did some content, did a video for this. I really appreciate all of you, and for being a part of this whole weird journey, on YouTube that we've been plowing along for 3 years now. I get 3 years of this is just wild to me. But yeah, again, thank you to everybody, and for always liking, following, subscribing, sharing. I'm repeating myself, I know, but I mean, what do you say? 3 years of continued growth and people continuing to watch. Except, thank you, and as always, I will see you guys out there.